at individuals within the church. 10 gunshot victims have been transported to local hospitals at this time, including one who has been deceased. Officers who were trained immediately responded to the area. One was a DNR officer, and then one was a Grand Blanc Township officer, where they met the suspect and they engaged in gunfire with that particular individual, neutralizing that suspect, and that suspect is no longer with us. As I said, it is a 40-year-old male from Burton. During all this incident as well, there was a fire that occurred, and we believe that was deliberately set by the suspect. We do believe that we will find additional victims once we have that scene secure. That fire was just extinguished by the Grand Blanc Township Fire Department within the past hour. So where we go from here is we have investigators. We're going to do search warrants on the suspect's residence. We're going to find out if there was a motive. We're going to go through cell phone records, things like that. We had the FBI, you know, they're devoting 100 agents to this area because, as you can imagine, there's a lot of witnesses that were within the church, and that is a lot of witness information, statements that we have to obtain. So I'd like to thank all the agencies who responded. City of Grand Blanc, Genesee County, Oakland County Sheriff's Office.
Sorry guys, let me turn that
Flint Township Police Department, the DNR, the State Police, and the ATF. I will provide additional information for you at 5 p.m., but I am willing to take any questions that you have that I could possibly answer right now.
Chief, can you talk about the kind of the progress of events? Did the suspect set the fire, they get back inside of his vehicle and then ran the front door, or did it all happen at the same time?
So from what I understand, and again, this is just a preliminary investigation right now, from what I have been briefed on, is that he rammed the vehicle through the front door, exited, then started firing shots. We are still trying to determine exactly when and where that fire ended up coming from and how it got started. So we believe it was deliberately set, though, by the suspect.
Were they in an active service when this happened?
Yes, the service was active. There was hundreds of people within the church.
Ooh.
Are you sure it's only one suspect at this point, or is it possible other people helped set the fire? What have you?
Yes, it is one suspect that we know of at this point. We do not believe that there's a threat to the public. We believe that we have the guy who did this. Sir.
Could you comment at all on the severity of the injuries at this time?
We have a couple in critical condition. Like I said, one is deceased. The rest of them are in stable condition.
So a couple, meaning three or two, I'm sorry?
One deceased. The suspect is deceased as well. And then multiple victims are in critical condition. We do believe that we will find some additional victims once we find the area where the fire was.
Any word on the weapon yet?
An assault rifle.
So, as far as ammunition, did he have a lot of ammunition?
That I don't know of yet, and I could get you later.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey.
Was the suspect known to authorities, and did he have any connection to anyone who was in that church?
Right now, we don't have any of that information, but I'm confident that our investigators, along with the FBI, we're going to end up uncovering all that information and provide that at a later time for you.
Chief, to clarify, you said there may be additional victims like inside the church? Or?
Yes, where the fire was. So, and the reason why we can't confirm that just yet is because it was a large fire, and we do believe that there was people up there that were near that fire, and they were unable to get out of the church. So we do believe that we will find additional victims once we're able to search that, once there's no signs of a fire reigniting.
So do you believe then that the victims that are still there, they succumbed to fire injuries or gunshots, or you're not sure?
That I'm not sure, but I could provide all that information hopefully at 5 p.m.
The shots were fired.
Shots were fired, yes.
And he had no idea how many though at this point?
No idea how many at this time. Yeah.
Can you describe the church? Is there like a worship area and then like a gathering
That I have not been in, so I can't tell you the layout.
Chief, can you kind of describe?
Sorry
the
if it's hard to hear the
process,
questions.
how things
I can barely even hear them.
change For tactical response when there's an active fire. Every training I've seen, it's always been a building that has not been on fire. So how do you then deal with an active shooter when you have that situation happening as well?
Well, we are here at Grand Blanc Township, and there's a lot of agencies within the state of Michigan. We are specifically trained to go right to the threat in an active shooter situation. And I'm proud of my guys and the DNR who responded to this scene, who immediately took that suspect out, so there was no additional victims. So it was a great job by our staff. Okay.
So
I-
I understand it was a law enforcement officer that neutralized the suspect? Is that-
Yes, there was 2 law enforcement officers involved. I will be back here at 5 p.m. to give you additional information and hopefully answer some of the questions that you guys went over here today. So, okay. Supervisor Bennett?
I don't really want to interrupt.
Hello, Scott Bennett, Grand Blanc Township Supervisor. Scott, SCOT.
But welcome, if you're watching.
First, let me say we are heartbroken. This kind of violence doesn't happen in our community, and we are heartbroken that it came to Grand Blanc Township. And we're going to do everything we can to support the families, the victims, and our community getting through this situation. And it's something that no community ever wants to have. And we're going to do our best to do everything we can. We appreciate the outpouring of support from our elected leaders from both national and state in offering their assistance, and we probably will take them up on their offers. So we appreciate that very much, and we appreciate the community reaching out to us also. So the details are yet to come, as Chief Rennie has said, and we'll wait for a little bit later today when we have the rest of the situation assessed. But it may take a little while to do that. But thank you for all the support, and I'm sure that the families and the victims are going to need that. It's a tragedy that nobody wants to encounter. Thank you.
Chief, before you step out, can you go over the process for family members, where you want them to go, who they should call to get more information and reunification?
Yeah, so those family members, they are in a secure area right now. They have been taken over to Trillium, so that's where the FBI will interview them and then release them from there. So.
I mean, in terms of anybody who might be at home who is not there, who wants to check in to see if their loved one is okay, is there a number or a place that you want them to go?
Yes, you could call the Grand Blanc Township Police Department, 810-424-2611. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, so a lot of information there from the police chief, William Renwy, I believe his name is, but
I'll share some thoughts momentarily. I'm trying to get my act together here.
one dead. The suspected shooter also dead, a 40-year-old man from Burton. There may be other victims as the shooter around 10:25 apparently drove his car into the Church of the Latter-day Saints and started shooting. A number of people, hundreds of people were in the service at this time, and it appears that this suspected shooter also deliberately set the fire. Obviously, this is preliminary information, and there will be more information coming out when the authorities can get into the church.
It does sound like, Charlie, they're going to have another press.
I might back that up and play it again at some point. Here's the basic summary right here via Intel Point Alert. Michigan church shooting. Gunman rammed a vehicle into church, exited vehicle and fired several rounds. Gunman shot dead by responding officers. Gunman is a 40-year-old male. We don't know much else about him right now. Maybe you do. Let me know in the comments, or in the chat, I should say, since I'm live streaming, if there's anything worth covering in regards to this story, in addition to what has already been mentioned. I could back this up and play the press conference again. I actually missed the very beginning of it. I was trying to get my stream going. It was hard for me to even listen to all that was being said. Trying to set everything up. I haven't actually live streamed in quite some time.
The investigative agency, he's one of the...
Let me mute that. That was just before the press conference. Sorry if the audio was only in one ear for a moment. It was for me as well. You can thank Fox 2 Detroit. This is their stream I'm watching on the screen. Yeah, any moment here. Press conference replay will be on. Just have to find the beginning of it. Here we go.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
And right now, Charlie, this is a live look at the police department where this press conference is going to be happening at any moment. You can see the podium right there empty. We're just waiting for one of the investigators to walk up to the podium and answer all these questions. There are just
Sorry if there's
so
a lag at
many
all.
questions
Might
right
be
now
on
about
their
what
end,
is
might be on
going
my
on
end.
concerning
Like I
the
said, I have
shooting.
not
Now,
streamed
from
in
the
a while,
interview that we
so-
had from the gentleman who was shot trying to get away from
Not
the
to pick
scene.
a bad
His vehicle
day
was shot trying to get away from the scene.
to start streaming again, but this is just what's going on. I was trying my best to keep up with it on X, putting together some threads about it, some thoughts about it, and I thought, why not start streaming randomly, see how it goes. And here he goes.
Everybody's ready. So, everybody ready? Hi, I'm Grambling Township Police Chief William Rennie.
Guess they had some audio issues too.
Here to give you some preliminary details on an incident that happened earlier today at 10:25 a.m. within Grambling Township. First off, I'd like to say our thoughts and prayers go out to the victims of this incident, which is completely unnecessary and avoidable. The incident that we're going to talk about here today, as I said, was happened at 10:25 a.m. at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is located at 4285 McCandless Road.
I had the scanner going, but I muted it so it doesn't interfere with the press conference.
Male. He drove his vehicle through the front doors of the church. He then exited his vehicle, firing several rounds at individuals within the church. 10 gunshot victims have been transported to local hospitals at this time, including one who has been deceased. Officers who were trained immediately responded to the area. One was a DNR officer.
You know what? I can pause that. It's not live anyway. Just the replay. If you're new to this channel, hello. Welcome back to my humble show. I'm your host for today and every other day, the Articulate Thinker, hopefully. Here to bring you art articles and articulation. And because I'm live streaming, I'll just cut off my own intro there and say, it's a sad day, right? Another sad day. Things like this happening. Let me pull up my OBS software so I can see how things are working out. Working out okay, I suppose, for me personally. One dead, gunman dead after shooting in Mormon church. Or as some say, Latter-day Saint church. I have a Fox Live now pulled up over here. And we were watching Fox 2 Detroit press conference on Fox 2 Detroit. Thought I'd share a few thoughts while I'm at it, though, just in case you're new here. It's supposed to be a podcast channel, but I try to stream occasionally. It has been a while, so why not now? Big breaking news to cover. Yes, I was following this on X. Firstly, started putting together a couple of threads here. So let me just run through those in case you missed any of it. News started breaking of some sort of active shooter situation in Michigan, Grand Blanc, Michigan. Let me bring this over here, show you what I'm looking at. And what on earth is going on with this active shooter fire situation at the church in Grand Blanc, Michigan? Sounds wild in the worst way, I said. A collapse with ammunition going off is not a good combination. So, yes, supposedly, as the fire was burning, the roof was collapsing and ammunition began going off. Wasn't sure if that was because of the heat or if there was still a gunfight of some sort going on. Multiple victims and the shooter is down. That's what was reported according to the police there. And they had put out this statement on their Facebook page saying there has been an active shooter at the Church of Latter-day Saints on McCandlish Road. There are multiple victims and the shooter is down. There is no threat to the public at this time. The shooter may or may not have set the church on fire. I'm not sure exactly how it started, but they said the church is actively on fire. It has since been contained, or at least it was. I'm not sure what the current state of it is, since I was listening to the press conference trying to get this stream going. But for people on site, the reunification site is the pavilion to the north. Off-site reunification will be at the Trillium Theater at Holly and McCandlish. Please avoid the area, said the Township Police Department. Yes, so moving on down this thread, then we'll get back to whatever's current. Apparently, the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints passed away last night at the age of 101. Have no idea if that's in any relation to the rest of this, but I saw this going around as well. Intel Point Alert pointed this out, saying, just to note, the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints passed away last night at the age of 101. President Russell M. Nelson, to be exact. Family and leaders remember him as a beloved physician. With sorrow, we announce that Russell M. Nelson, beloved president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, passed away peacefully shortly after 10 p.m. today at his home in Salt Lake City. He was 101 years of age, the oldest president in the history of the church. So he was not even in the vicinity of the current and ongoing situation. He was in Salt Lake City. But yes, news in regards to the church. So worth noting. Here's some video in case you haven't seen it already. It's on my little screen over here, a live look at the fire, and I can see that it is not at all contained. Assuming that's live footage, you can't really see it. It's on my laptop over here. If that's a live look and not a replay of drone footage, obviously, then it's the furthest from contained, unless by contained they mean contained demolition. Because it is in very sad shape. So here's that video from a little while ago. Unlimited L says, breaking active shooting at the Grand Blanc. Still haven't figured that one out. Michigan church leaves multiple victims. Police confirm shooter is down and the threat is neutralized. The church is on fire. Sorry, my voice is going out. Maybe because I was up all night. Haven't had enough water. Same could be said of this church, unfortunately. Has not had enough water. I'm not sure about the state of the congregation. I believe there were many people in there when the shooting began. Thus evacuation, but considering there were victims, injuries,
Oh my God.
deaths even.
That's really bad.
Not sure who all was able to get out before the fire, the flames, so forth. I'm not going to be speculating too much about motive or anything like that. Not in the live stream. I try to save that for my actual pods and podcasts, where I attempt to be more concise and as factual and accurate as possible. At least 6 to 8 victims, according to Fox 2 Detroit. And that was at least an hour ago. There was this clip.
Running toward me right now. Do you have an update? I have just a couple of minutes left. Okay.
Very
So
low
the latest
audio.
update is confirmed that there are 6 to 8 victims at this point.
Okay, she's basically just reading off a statement, which is what I just said. The church is on fire. A 4th alarm has been called, and there are reports of additional victims trapped inside. So I see a American flag there behind the smoke. And there was a truck which had been rammed into the building, if I'm not mistaken, and there were a couple of American flags sticking out of the back of it. Think of that what you may. I have no idea if this was a political statement by one side or the other, if you know what I mean. There have been a lot of those sorts of statements made as of late. Time will tell, and hopefully the authorities will tell as well. So I started this other thread before I started my stream. AG Pam Bondi on LDS church attack in Grand Blanc, Michigan. She said, "I'm receiving briefings about what appears to be a horrific shooting and fire at the LDS church in Grand Blanc, Michigan. FBI and ATF agents are en route to the scene now. Such violence at a place of worship is heartbreaking and chilling. Please join me in praying for the victims of this terrible tragedy." Also around that time, an hour ago, Kash Patel put out a statement similarly saying, "We are tracking reports of the horrific shooting and fire at the LDS church in Grand Blanc, Michigan. FBI agents are on the scene to assist local authorities. Violence in a place of worship is a cowardly and criminal act. Our prayers are with the victims and their families during this terrible tragedy." There were some other statements coming from the more local authorities of Genesee and in the vicinity. I might see if I can find some of those, pull them up. I guess I could turn the scanner back on while I'm talking. Unmute.
Staging from Burton, Chief 1. Hey, you go ahead.
Here's some drone footage. I'll go ahead and play
Can
this.
you give me a crew of 2 to 4 Alpha side?
This might actually be the footage which was being played on
25 to Burton, Chief 1.
Live.
You good with that?
I had some fire footage pulled up on my laptop over here a few minutes ago. Wasn't sure if it was live footage or not, because I had heard that the fire had been contained, and then I saw the coverage on Fox Live Now over here.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a pretty big church.
Man, they
though.
got a cascade coming from Oakland County.
I'm not sure what their membership is
Clear, thank you.
exactly. Sunday worship service at 10 a.m. This according to Mario Naufel. With no official count of worshipers present.
Feeling township back to
Typical LDS wards in Michigan and U.S. see 200 to 400 weekly attendees. I might have actually mentioned something about that during the press conference, and I could put that back on the screen since I paused it a little while ago. Play it again in case I missed anything for one, or in case you are just now tuning in. Here we go.
And then one was a Grand Blanc Township officer where they met the suspect and they engaged in gunfire with that particular individual, neutralizing that suspect, and that suspect is no longer with us. As I said, it is a 40-year-old male from Burton.
Suspect no longer with us. Key. So yes, the threat was quickly eliminated.
During all this incident as well, there was a fire that occurred, and
you know what? I just saw this, so I might as well pull this up. A statement from President Donald J. Trump. He said, "I have been briefed on the horrendous shooting that took place at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc, Michigan. The FBI was immediately on scene and will be leading the federal investigation and providing full support to state and local officials. The suspect is dead, but there is still a lot to learn. This appears to be yet another targeted attack on Christians in the United States of America. The Trump administration will keep the public posted, as we always do. In the meantime, pray for the victims and their families. This epidemic, don't think epidemic is a word, epidemic of violence in our country must end immediately." Agree wholeheartedly. So yeah, even if this isn't a political attack, it's much more likely, I mean, obviously, attack on religion, whether Christianity more broadly speaking or that specific congregation. I don't know about that. But there have been attacks on schools and churches as of late due to various forms of hate. I imagine this will be in that category at the end of it.
Believed that was deliberately set by the suspect. We do believe that we will find additional victims once we have that scene secure.
I know they were searching the vehicle as well. There was reports of an IED, explosives, threats of them. So I'm sure they will soon be searching any residents he may have been associated with for additional explosives, weapons, whatnot. Planning. If there's a manifesto, I just don't know. But typical investigation material.
That fire was just extinguished by the Grand Blanc Township Fire Department within the past hour. So where we go from here is we have investigators. We're going to do search warrants on the suspect's residence. We're going to find out if there was a motive. We're going to go through cell phone records, things like that. We had the FBI, they're devoting 100 agents to this area because, as you can imagine, there's a lot of witnesses that were within the church, and that is a lot of witness information.
On a completely unrelated note, I just saw where Eric Adams announced he's dropping out of the New York City mayoral race. So that's news, but that's news for another show.
Statements that we have to obtain. So I'd like to thank all the agencies who responded. The City of Grand Blanc, Genesee County, Oakland County Sheriff's Office, Flint Township Police Department, the DNR, the State Police, and the ATF. I will provide additional information for you at 5 p.m., but I am willing to take any questions that you have that I could possibly answer right now.
Chief, can you talk about the the progress of events? Did the suspect set the fire, then get back inside of his vehicle and then ran the front door, or did it all happen at the same time?
So from what I understand, and again,
okay, he's about to lay out some of the time frames here, but I believe 5 p.m. there will be another press conference or statements made of some sort. So hopefully I can keep up with that. And if I'm still recording at that point, I have no idea if I will be, but if I am, I'll try to play that as well so we can get any of the updates. Yeah, you don't really need to continue looking at his face, so I'll bring this back over. Let me see if I can actually search Michigan church and pull up some updates for you more directly.
And this is just a preliminary investigation right now. From what I have been briefed on, is that he rammed the vehicle through the front door, exited, then started firing shots. We are still trying to determine exactly when and where that fire ended up coming from and how it got started. So we believe it was deliberately set, though, by the suspect.
Were they in an active,
Believe the fire was deliberately set by the suspect. I see this video by someone who was there in the area. I'm going to go ahead and play it, see what she has to say. Also in the caption, it says, at the scene in Grand Blanc, Michigan, a man ran his car into a church and started shooting. Family members are waiting to be reunited with their loved ones. A little girl has been shot in the back and many people have blood on their clothes. Please pray for the victims and for our first responders. That's what Anna Matson said. I'm going to play this video of someone who was there. You can see the fire in the background.
I'm at the scene of a giant fire happening at a church in Grand Blanc, Michigan. I talked to someone who just got here from South America. It's his first week in the U.S., went to church with his mom. His mom is still in the building, and he got out. From what I'm hearing on the ground, a man drove his vehicle into the church and then started shooting and even shot a little girl in the back, and she is at the hospital right now. The shooter has been neutralized, but that's all I know at the moment. Everyone within a 30-minute radius has responded to the scene. I'm at the...
Alright, so that's just horrible all around. I was hearing some reports of a certain hospital low on space, or maybe low on doctors, nurses, whoever at the time. Hopefully everyone has the care they need. Here's a photo. I won't read the caption in it, but you see a truck had been rammed into the side of the church at the time. 2 American flags in the back of it. Whatever that might mean. Here's a photo of the church itself. I see a little 2025 there on the screen. This is Google Maps or something. But yeah, they were in service. And then were met with this. Michigan, what's that? Eastern time? Got 10:33 a.m. over here currently for me. Like I said, I was up all night, so my hours are all out of whack. What's this? Another photo. I'm just scrolling through here right now. Okay. I said I wasn't going to get into any motives or anything like that. Not to speculate, but Johnny Maga says, Kamala, last night, we must fight fire with fire. This morning in Michigan, a terrorist opened fire in a church and set it on fire. But we have no idea if it's remotely related to what she said, for one. I mean, sometimes things like this are spur of the moment. Sometimes they're plotted and planned for quite some time, as we saw in the recent shooting at the ICE facility in Texas, or the assassination of Charlie Kirk, obviously, which wasn't as lengthy of a plan, of a plot, but more than just overnight decision. All this footage popping up under Michigan Church on X. Stuff I've already seen, stuff you've already seen, probably. So I'm going to continue playing this press conference.
Service when this happened?
Yes, the service was active. There was hundreds of people within the church.
So yeah, he didn't give a specific number, but hundreds of people within the church.
Are you sure it's only one suspect at this point, or is it possible other people helped setting the fire, what have you?
Yes, it is one suspect that we know of at this point. We do not believe that there's a threat to the public. We believe that we have the guy who did this.
Any
Sir.
Could you comment at all on the severity of the injuries at this time?
We have a couple in critical condition. Like I said, one is deceased. The rest of them are in stable condition.
A couple, maybe 3 or 2, I'm sorry.
One deceased. The suspect is deceased as well. And then multiple victims are in critical condition.
One more time.
A couple, maybe 3 or 2, I'm sorry.
One deceased. The suspect is deceased as well. And then multiple victims are in critical condition.
I'm seeing 10 plus injured. Sorry if I'm jumping all over the place here. I've also got breakfast waiting for me. My wife ordered Denny's and it has arrived. Haven't yet eaten today. Baby is screaming in the other room. Sorry about that. Don't know what all you can hear, but like I said, a lot going on a personal level. Can't complain though compared to what's going on in Michigan right now. Thanks for being here. If you're indeed watching, listening, whatever the case may be. I see I only have 1 or 2 viewers, but hey, there's other channels out there doing their due diligence. Maybe more worth watching, worth listening to. I'm not exactly an expert on this streaming stuff. Just trying to get back in the business of it. Since it has been a while. Oh, hello, cat. My cat has come to say hello. My cat has gone to say goodbye now. Alright. Let me make sure I'm actually showing you what I think I'm showing you. Yes, indeed. Got to be careful just scrolling here. Never know what's going to pop up. Something totally unrelated to the current crimes against humanity. More of the same information just being posted by different people on X. So
we do believe that we will find some additional victims once we find the area where the fire was.
Let me bring this back to live, see what they're talking about.
They are heading in to help with this investigation. Obviously, numerous police agencies are here on site. Now, again, the chief gave us as much as he could. I mean, just to recap that, we know that a 40-year-old burdened man, he was in the vehicle that slammed through the doors of this church. At the time, he actively started firing a round of shots. 10 people were actually victimized. They were shot. We do know that one's dead, including obviously the shooter as well. That's when they were saying that the shooter is down. That's what they meant. He is actually deceased.
So one is down, including the shooter? So there's a victim deceased and the shooter deceased in addition? Or is the one who is deceased the shooter? She wasn't really clear there. Maybe she's not clear on it herself.
We don't know a lot about this 40-year-old burdened man. They did say that they were going to actively be looking through like social media accounts and different things. Another thing that we were told, the FBI, they are sending 100 investigators to help with this. And
I don't believe his name has been made public yet. That might be by intention. If the authorities have indeed seen his social media accounts, some of these things might end up scrubbed before people even get a look at them, or his name might get out if someone recognized him in the meantime and puts that out publicly. Then everybody on social media will be looking him up and finding out whatever dirt there was on him, or whatever his political ideology might have been. And then the blame game begins. But for right now, just the decisions of one lunatic, for lack of a better word. Assuming it was a religious attack of some sort, and who knows, maybe political on top of that. We'll see.
primarily because of the number of people in the church. These 100 agents are going to have to speak to these eyewitnesses. That's exactly what they are, eyewitnesses, and really kind of tell these agents, FBI agents, what they saw, what they heard to help with this investigation. So that's one thing that we did learn. We also learned that although right now they're telling us 10, they believe that there are more victims. Unfortunately, that fire, there were people around that fire, and they believe that some of those people may be deceased. So,
okay, maybe more deceased. Then indeed things are still unclear. There are more victims from the fire, not just from the shooting, but from the fire. Not sure how quickly the blaze took over the sanctuary, etc., etc. I don't know how many escape routes they had, what the layout of the land is in there. You know, or if people were afraid of what they might face if they went to the door or whatever, because they don't know if there's additional shooters outside. They don't know what's going on. It's all spur of the moment for them. So if they're panicking, maybe they're stomping on each other in attempts to get out. Maybe they're calm, cool, and collected. I just don't know. But there's so many different ways that things can go wrong aside from the initial shooting itself. So I'm speeding her up because I keep pausing, and then the playback will pick up speed and catch back up.
Again, we're waiting to hear more. There's going to be a press conference at 5 o'clock. You know, what started this and what actually caused this person to do that? That's the million-dollar question. I mean, we don't know. Was he a former member of this church? Did he go to the church? We don't know those questions. And police hopefully... Go ahead, Charlie.
Ingrid, yeah, let me just ask a quick question. Where you are standing right this moment, it looks like you are in kind of a residential area, perhaps. I don't know how far you are from the church, but how far are you? And do the people around there that you're near, do they know anything about this church?
If anyone has any updates on this that I'm not covering, be happy to hear it from you. Drop a comment in the chat. I have my stream pulled up on my phone from a different channel, and I'm trying to keep up to date on whatever people are saying. Not that I have many, if any, viewers right now, but, you know, just trying to call it like I see it. So, I don't know if I'll make it until the next press conference. I don't even know if I'll leave this live stream up after I'm done. I'm very rusty at this, so I can't tell if I'm having any technical difficulties, issues, whatnot. Especially without feedback, so we'll see.
Is there any controversy? Have they had any previous problems? Do they have any idea as to what may have happened to start the shooting?
Exactly. We don't know that at this time. We will talk to some of the residents. This is a very residential area. This is like a two-lane road, one lane going, one lane coming. We tried to get as close as we could to the church earlier, and we were told to get back. And that's when that church was still actively on fire. During the press conference, they did tell us that the fire is out, so that is good news. In terms of controversy or what maybe led to this, I don't know. But either way, there is nothing that justifies anyone ramming a car through a door of an establishment and taking a gun and shooting and killing people. Okay? There is nothing that justifies that act. So right now we're just waiting to hear more investigation information from police, and again, that'll take place at 5. But you know, again, the suspect, we have very little information about him, an age and where he's from, and that's it. That's all. When we know what.
Wait a second. I was just looking for updates here on X, and I see this post from June from Lives of TikTok, actually. A man just rammed his car into a church in Wayne, Michigan, which is right near Dearborn. A security guard shot him. Good guy with guns saves many lives. Additional political statements, so because I don't know if it applies to anything that happened today, other than the similarity of the attack, which is similarly to the point of identically. I'm just watching this video from June. I haven't seen it before, so I'm muting it in case there's anything crazy. You know, I don't think there will be.
Important Bible verses that the kids could take with them. We hope that after the service you'll stay and move around the foyer and let the kids tell you about the great treats we had this week, and have some too. Thank you.
I may have to pause this for the sake of the rules of YouTube. Okay, I've never seen this, like I said. Okay, people running. Okay, so like the caption said, another church, Dearborn, Michigan area, had been rammed by somebody in a car. I don't know if that means car as in specifically a car or just as in a vehicle. But, yeah, security guard shot him. I kept pausing because I wasn't sure if the shooting was going to be seen on screen. Got to be careful here on YouTube. Back to this.
He did, allegedly. And, you know, it's also believed that he is responsible for that fire as well. But why? We don't know. And again, there is no justification.
Ingrid, give us a sense. You've been out there for a little bit right now. You said when you first got out there it was difficult to breathe because of the fire and the smoke that was billowing all around you. Describe to us how that has changed in the last half hour or so that you've been out there.
Right. Exactly. Well, initially, again, I was trying to get as close as I could because I was hoping, obviously, to talk to anybody that was an eyewitness in that church.
I was trying to see if I could find any updates on the exact identity of this guy, because I'm sure it will be all over as soon as that's made public by the authorities or by anyone who might have recognized him.
But the closer I got, that's when investigators told us that we had to get back. And as you can see, we're much further back. As you can see, though, that smoke behind me, when we first arrived, it was very intense. In fact,
if you don't like the double time and me talking sporadically, Fox 2 Detroit, you can just watch the live stream on that channel.
When we got off of the freeway, you could see the smoke way in the air. But now it's calmed down a little bit. And again, investigators have confirmed that fire is out.
Of vehicles behind you going on that road, are those all police vehicles or first responders, or are there some residents that are being allowed to get close to the scene?
Not at all. Those are all emergency response vehicles. You know, that is how, and even behind me, a line of emergency response vehicles from fire trucks, police cars, ambulances. And we also know, too, that the DNR played a part in this. We understand that it was the Blanc Township Police Department, along with DNR agency, that actually they were able to put this suspect down. So the DNR was out here and actively helping with this investigation. And as you heard during that press conference, the chief was very thankful to the DNR and you know, the men and women of the Blanc Township Police Department for actually helping out and making sure that this threat does not exist any longer.
And those are the basics, basically. We've covered all that. They've covered all that. You've seen it here. You've heard it here. I need to eat. If I'm going to stream again later and more organized, I might need to jump off of here and get some things together. I'm not sure, but if you've watched this, if you've listened to this, I appreciate you. Be happy to hear from you. Maybe I'll stream again, maybe I won't. Time will tell. But yes, like, subscribe, and enjoy the ride, or don't. It's not a very enjoyable topic today. Just the topic worth tackling at the time. Terrible news. I'd say thoughts and prayers, but I don't like saying it too casually. Every bit counts, though, right? Alright, I gotta figure out how to even end this stream. 4 views total. Don't know if it's worth it, me streaming for now. I'm just trying to grow my channel in general. I just started recording on this channel again recently, after quite a long hiatus and lack of a game plan. Maybe I'll stream in the days moving forward. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But keep in touch, keep in tune. New content of some sort is coming soon. Peace